Hi, everyone, and welcome back. We are up to week number 2. That's the second week of May, and we're going to go over our Save to Sync budget system together because I promised you that we were going to do this as a team, right? Keeping one another accountable and actually having an open conversation about this because we all think, like, I'm going to go back in time. John, I'm talking years ago. I'm talking probably about 25 years ago. 25 years ago. John got up before me. He was watching TV. There was an infomercial. Stick with me on this. And it was about set it and forget it, the rotisserie grill. And by the time I woke up, John's like, I ordered that. I go, what? He goes, I ordered it. I still have it today. I pull it out maybe 2 times a year now to cook a roast or maybe even a chicken. And you know what? I have a chicken. And because it's summertime, instead of putting on the oven, I'll put that on. I'll put the chicken, the roasted chicken in that. It's a thing. So the point I'm trying to make is this. Infomercials sometimes get you to buy something, and then that item usually sits on your shelf. I would love for you to buy this, but I don't want it to sit on your shelf. I believe that this system will help us all, wholeheartedly. It's an awareness system. And there's going to be pieces that we're going to add to this to help us even more. But when you're doing something with someone, the journey is more fun. And that's why we are going to do Saturdays Save to Sync. Save to Sync Saturday, where we do this together. All right, let's get into it. 77-page book. You can add more pages to this. That's up to you. And then there's a companion one. We did have the retina doctor yesterday, and we'll go over this tomorrow night in my live. Yep. Serious stuff going on here. Serious stuff. All good, though. Positive outlook. Save to Sync, a system that starts with saving money, holding on to that money all month long, and then tracking that money, and then giving it a purpose. How does this book go with that? Well, if you follow through with what you're going to spend, you will then have money to save. All right, let's get into this. There is, the first companion is the receipts folder. It is the actual physical folder. You get the stickers. You get to put the stickers on yourself. I have been, whatever my men have been giving me as far as receipts, I have been stuffing them in here. This is last week. This is this week. Now, there are some that are missing, and I went through them. But I don't need the actual receipt, personally. But I do like receipts. My sister Jeannie taught me keep receipts a long time ago. Because even for years afterwards, you're going to need them. You know, when we refinanced our house one year and we upgraded so much, they asked for receipts for your tax write-off. So anyway, since that time of my life, I have been saving receipts. So for the month, they're going to wind up in here. And then they're going to go into the yearly. This is where they will stay for the year 2026. I have a pretty cool system. So I'm going to leave these in here. I looked over them. I'm not missing them. I have a sheet in front of me. We're going to call it my cheat sheet. But this is what we're going to do. We're going to start with my categories. Now, spending, I don't want spending to be a negative. Yes, it could be. But for me on this channel, I want us to be prepared because sometimes you have to spend money. So that's what we're doing. We're budgeting money to spend. I had put money for week 1 inside, and week 1 ended last week. We're going to take all that money out this week because I did not do it after last week's video. This week, this money has a purpose. And we're going to kind of go over that kind of financing for me. We're going to put this to the side for right now, and we'll get to that. I have categories, and your categories might be a little different than mine. The reason why I have these categories is so that I can be almost like a Sherlock Holmes. I'm looking for any spending that doesn't work, that might be leaking more money than it should. That's where I'm going to go with that. So I'm putting on my Sherlock Holmes and my magnifying glass, right? So groceries. I don't ever think that you could spend too much on groceries. Groceries never had an amount or a budget in my life. Even when my grandmother was raising us, we never did without food-wise. We had all the cereals, we had steaks, we had roasts, we had lasagna, we had it all. Candy. My grandma had a drawer full of Hershey candies. You wanted a Reese's peanut butter cup or you wanted a Kit Kat, go upstairs and get it. Grandma's got it. Never ever denied Twinkies, Hostess cupcakes, chips, pretzels. We never did without. So for me, groceries does not get a cap. I just wanted to track it. Dining out. This is where my detective cap goes the most. Gasoline. I'm just tracking it right now just to see where we're spending. Amazon, I really wanted to have a better insight. TJ and Vinny, I just wanted to see where their spending was at right now because my home life village is costing more than it's ever, even when they were younger. But you've been following me, you know why. And I am good with that. I just want eyes on it. And then personal is really John and I. I'm tracking that because I want to see John or Donna, John or Donna. And I have a feeling it's going to go this way, but just tracking, right? Because putting pen to paper and looking at those numbers really keep me aware of everything. And I'm gathering as much data, as much notes as I possibly can. I'm learning to look for certain patterns. And I'm really trying to keep myself aware, which is where this one comes into play. Okay, and that's the God's honest truth, right? That is exactly where I am at. Now, I started with those categories for a reason. It's not an overcomplicated system. It really is not. It's going to be a system that I think you're going to relate to if you have not started. Now, I wanted to ask that, this is what I thought of yesterday. What would you think of a private Zoom or Google Meets, depending on how many people we have? If you purchase this system, what would you feel like? How would you feel if I brought together a meeting and we sat down and discussed how you're doing with this? Where can we adjust? Where could we raise the bar? What are you happy with? What do we have to look at? What would you think of? It's not a one-on-one because obviously there would be people, and we cap it at maybe 25 per meeting, per meet. If you purchase this, how would you feel about that? Would you like to be a part of that? Would you like to see that happen? And then we'll take it from there. That is where my mind was yesterday. Being at the retina specialist, I couldn't focus because I was dilated. And so my eyes were closed, and that doesn't mean my mind stopped. And knowing today I had to do this, what would make it that much more personal? All right, that's where I'm at. I want to bring that to the table. I really do. Are you ready? I think I'm ready. I have what was spent this week, and I'm looking at it and I'm going, okay, that's not so bad, right? I am. I'm going to start with Vinny real quick because I wanted to go over his spending on the 9th. Now, so this is, I'm going to put Vinny because I'm not really tracking TJ right now. And this would be May 9th to the 16th. I'm not starting a balance. I just want to track my spending. Right? I mentally I allocated 200, but last week it went over. All right. He had, I wanted to go over this. He had 31.97, 21. You know what? Something is missing here. So I have to carry over the 9th. And you're probably saying, but we did the 9th. But that didn't mean that after I did that video, if something wasn't spent on that day. So that's why I'm overlapping days. So 5/9, there was a, what I had that? We had 21. Vinny had a day out. I have 3 here. I have 31.97. I have the 21. There's a 16.14 that's not on here. I'm going to put day out. And that was expense 16.14. I now have that. 31.93. 7.45 is there. See that? And he had a 6.39. All right, so that was 5/9. All right, so that's now all caught up with Vinny. Now, on the 10th, the 12th, and the 13th, he added money to his Dunkin'. And he added $25, $35, $45. This kid's going to kill me. And then on the 15th, he had ice cream, which I didn't know my kid ate ice cream. I did not know. $4.94. He might have had a shake. Who knows? And then on, I didn't check the date on this. Adobe Illustrator is a monthly fee. That was $74.19. All right. That had to have been probably the 15th because I saw it on the statement today. That was all the spending. Oh, I did that. Okay, so that was all the spending. So let's look at what was spent this week. 16.14, 6.39, 45, 4.94, and 74.19, 146. I'm gonna put balance at the end of this. In fact, let's highlight that. Let's highlight that. His spending was 146.66. All right, so he was under for me that month. I'm good. All right, so Vinny's done. Vinny's done, and this is done. All right, like I said, I have a cheat sheet. I am going through it step by step. And this is where I might have to flip back and forth. Oh, you know what? Let's do his page. Let's do his front page. All right. So the 9th to the 16th, I'm just going to say in my head, I had $200. And he spent $146.66. This is going to be a round number because this is what I allocate in our monthly. Oh, I'm loving this. All right, so if he had 200 to spend and he spent 146.66, he had a balance of 53.34. Ta-da! Okay. Now I'm going to come over. We're going to bounce back and forth because I'm going to try to go over in general. Now, I did not allocate food as far as Sam's Club. So food is going to go over this month, but we're going to just track food anyway. All right. I hope that you're still with me. So groceries, week of the 9th to the 16th. We're going to say starting balance is $250. We're just going to say that that's an allocation that is real in my head. So food was, and the dates are not going to run in order because I have to go through page by page, like credit card by credit card. So that was on my credit card. And that was on Monday. So the Monday was the 11th. So on 5/11, it was Sam's Club. Now last week I had this all written out for you. And I did not do this with you. So I wanted to do this with you. $286.98. And I felt like, and this was the important question that my sister had asked me, because I told her I went to Sam's Club. She goes, okay. She goes, I have a question. She goes, what did you buy that you didn't need? And I quickly went over in my head, what did we buy? And I went, that's it. I didn't buy a shirt. I didn't buy a sweatshirt. I didn't buy a sweater. I didn't buy shorts. I didn't buy a book. Everything I got was a need. I'm sorry, a need. We needed it. It was dog food. It was cat treats. It was fruits and vegetables. It was pantry stuff. And it was for the freezer. It was meats. So I was very, very happy with that. All right, let's go on. That one is done. Now, then we're going to go to Walmart. On the 14th, and this is all going to be Walmart, $226.31. $226.31. On the 13th, we had I have to double check that. I think it's only, yeah, it was $18.60. And on the 11th, they're going backwards, was $70.62. And that was all the Walmart order. Okay. Amazon. Oh, John did go to Weiss. I'm going to cross that out. John went to the other grocery store. Sorry, my eyes are still not focusing 100%. Okay. John went to Weiss on the 11th. And he got $21.82. All right. Ta-da! Groceries is done. I'm not going to tally that. I'm going to finish this and we're going to come back to it. Dining out. Let's go to dining out. Ta-da! Dining out. And that is May 5th. And let me know, did you like it better if I had it all filled out, or do you enjoy me filling it out with you? Now, dining out, I had a mental of 200. Doesn't mean I want to do that. And this was all on the 15th. John had lunch out. And he spent $14.40. Oh, $14.40. I'm going to put John. All right. Now, Duncan, I'm going to put Duncan on here. This was not John. And this was the 15th. $56.99. That was for the doctor's office. We brought 3 dozen donuts with us to this office. Why? Because my son's girlfriend, Shannon, her mom works in that office, and that office took really good care of me. So I wanted to walk through the door with something. So Duncan is done. John did have ice cream on the 13th. and that was $8.75. We're going to put a J there. Then we went to Mission Barbecue for Johnny. Yes, we both ate. I did not have a choice, and that cost $89.41. And then on the 10th, that was on 9/10. That was on the 11th. And then on the 10th, he had Wendy's. And that was $11.65. And that was John. All right, let me look through my list. And the only other things is John. Okay, so what was spent this week? $14.40, $56.99, $8.75, $89.41, and $11.65. Total. I want different. It didn't seem like it was dark enough. Let's see if this works. Total spent was $181.20. $181.20, less than the 200. Yay! Oh, okay. Now we're going to go on to gas. Let's do this. And we're going to go back to the front pages when we're done. So the gas that we got this week was the 15th. So this is gas. Week of the 9th, May 9th through the 16th. Okay. Starting balance for gas, I'm giving us 200. So yesterday, because we had to travel all the way to Jersey and back, filled up my car, and that cost $71.44. Oy, oy, oy. Okay. Then he did fill up the gas one other time, and that was $25.96, and that was on the 13th. Now, for the most part, TJ pays for his own gas. Vinny still goes to town, and we have a card from the gas station, a private gas station. So I don't get to look at that until I can look at that on the 1st of the month, the 1st of June. And then I can add that in midway through the month. This just happens to be John and I. All right. So this is a positive for me. This is so a positive. But you know what? The positive is there, but we'll see but Vinny's got a Ford Focus, so that hardly uses any gas. 71.44 and 25.96 is 97.40. All right. Amazon. Okay, so we did that. And we did looking good. All right. The only thing, let me go back over here to personal. Now, personal, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do May 9th through the 16th. I did just order something on Amazon for John, but that's going to go on Amazon. No big deal. And I'm going to just do this. The only expense that I saw, besides food, was for me. And I'm going to put personal. And that was, John went on the 14th, and he paid my eye doctor, my local eye doctor. I had a $50 copay. So John went and paid that. That's the only expense that I saw come out for us, besides food. Now, we did go to the mall area the other day. We really did not shop except for Sam's Club. So I did buy a hat at Mission Barbecue, but that was on the Mission Barbecue receipt. So I'm not going to include that in personal. That's on the Mission Barbecue. because it was all on one receipt. All right, so why am I doing this? Huh. And this is where I'm going to tell you, I am loving the fact that I am looking at these categories on a weekly basis. For me, for years, the bills would come in, and on the first of the month, everything would get paid. I'd glance through them, I would look at them, but I never concentrated on them. I just paid them, and they were done. And I wouldn't look at anything until the next month. I needed to be aware. I want to be aware of everything that's being spent. You might say, Donna, that's a heck of a lot of work, especially when you come across 4 people and your business and tracking Vinny and tracking TJ and tracking TJ's 2 businesses. I have to be honest with you. I enjoy this the most. I enjoy it. All right, let's go on. Let's go to Amazon and keep going because this video can get really long if we don't stay on point. And there's a lot to be said. And that's why I would love to have a Zoom or a Google Meets with you all. And then I'm going to put 5/9 as the week, and we allocated 200. Okay. And, oh, this was tracking. I did that wrong. I was jumping that gun. Tracking your spending. I did not spend any money last week, so that's why that was a 0. All right, you know what? I'm going to use 2 pages. I'm going to do 9/16. That's what I'm going to let Amazon just roll. Now, I'm going to put 26/30, and that was today. All right, so on the 14th, let's do 5/14. I spent 20/14. No, I didn't add that. The expense is 20/14. And then we spent 189.68, 58.90, excuse me, and the 26/30. And these 3 are for the building. And this one was John. And it was a part for the weed whacker. Necessities, right? These were all necessities. So I'm going to put, this was the 14th, and this was the 15th, and today is the 16th. That's how this ran. Now, these are big numbers, but these are things that we needed to conform our building to get our C of O. So these are not, this was not like, oh my gosh, we went on Amazon, we were searching, we were spending. It's not. And then I can honestly say that that is all of our spending for the week. Now, obviously, spending is different than everyday bills. And maybe one day I track our regular bills. But that's not here right now. So we spent 2014, 189.68, 58.90, and 26.30. We spent, here we spent all of these, 295.02. Now, of course, that's not my balance. That's not my balance. And you know what? We're not going to look at that. Not for me. For you, you can, if you're cash budgeting, you're going to have to do this your way. I'm not a cash budgeter. We're a credit card person. We put everything on the credit card. That credit card gets paid off at the next billing. When it says, this is what you pay, this is what I pay, I don't carry interest over. And the only reason why we're doing that is, 1, so I can track everything, and we use it for rewards. But you can't get rewards and pay interest. That's like a double negative. Can't do that. And if you're telling yourself, yeah, I carry a debt, but I'm gaining these rewards, you're not gaining nothing. You're giving them that money to get that. So don't do that. Don't do it. Okay. Oh, that's all my categories. And let's get to it. All right. Let's do this. Let's do this. This is so exciting. Oh, it's making me so aware. All right. I did not add that up, did I? All right, let's add this up. 286.98, 226.31, 18.60, 70.62, and 21.82. Okay, all these cost $624.33. Okay. Not adding, we spent $624.33. That's where we're at. Okay. Dining out. For week number 2. 181.20. Gas. For week 2, 97.40. Amazon, this is such a justifiable purchase. These were not wants. This was purely needs. And we don't need that there. And we know what we're justifying for me right now. This is just tracking, right? And we spent $295.02. This is going to give me a month glance. All right. Now, for Vinny, we already know that we had a remaining balance. Actually, I don't know if I want to do the numbers at the end. Because this would be a negative. This would be negative 400. I said what? I said I was going to give this 250, right? So, all right. So if I mentally added 250, all right, let's do this. If I mentally added 250, so $250, we deducted $624.33. That gives me a negative $374.33. $374.33. Negative $374.33. All right, let's do this, right? Because that's a visual, and that's an okay visual. And I'm not beating myself up over it. It's 181.20, and that is, we are in the positive by 1880. Okay. Feeling good. Feeling so good. We were adding 200, and if we had 200 and we minus 97.40, that leaves us with a positive of 102.60. Amazon, you're going to give me a negative 95.02 for that week. All right. We already have Vinny at the 53.34, and I allocated $200 for us, and the only thing that came out was the $50, and I'm gonna claim that as me. We spent 50. We're ahead by 150. Ta-da! Okay, those are my 5 categories. Ooh, okay. Now, what am I doing with this money? Before we get into this money, can I just come over here to this? So this is our Save to Sync budget tracking system. And I know we have not, oh, let's look at our check-in. All right. This is our weekly snapshot. Stay on point, Don. I was jumping ahead. This is important to look at. All right. So we got groceries And then we got eating out. And then we have gas, Amazon. Now you might say, hey, this is repetitive. And you might be right. But let me tell you something. If you do not focus on any of these, how will you ever get a positive at the end of the month? So let's do this. So we're allocating now, we're going to allocate $250 for groceries and $200 across the board for everything else. And even though we just did it, I think that at the end of the month, this is going to look just as good to us. All right. So groceries actual spent was $624.33, and the was a negative balance of $374.33. Then we had eating out. Stick with me. Are you still here? If so, drop me a rainbow of hearts. Because the other day I asked for that, and my comment section looked amazing. So we have positive 1880. Gas, we spent $97.40. I should have had this running on the side. So we got positive 102.60. Loving this. Amazon, we spent $295.02. And then we're at a negative $95.02. Vinny actually spent $146.66. And we had a positive of $53.34. And then personal, 50 came out. And we had a positive of 150. Okay. Notes and observations. Sam's Club was why groceries were so high. So much money. Now, you might say, Donna, come on, why are we doing this? So much money. Because if you're telling yourself your story of your budgeting and savings, if I didn't write that there and I came back and why did we have I can guess, but I wouldn't know for a fact. I'm all about facts. The win this week, I was going to say Vinny, John, and Donna. That's where I'm going to say the win was. What challenged me? I'm going to tell you what helped in eating out. My sister took everybody out this week because my niece was here. So there probably would have been one more day out, and that would have cost me money. But what challenged me? I don't think that anything really challenged me this week. Right now, I'm going to say nothing. What I'll adjust. Right now, I'm not adjusting. I'm going to keep watching. And that is important to me. And then reminders for me is Sam's Club sinking fund. That's important to me now. Because when I looked at what was going on in Sam's Club, I was just like, you know what? The cat food and the dog food and the cat treats saved me money. Because now I know I sometimes buy it at Walmart and I usually order Chewy's.com. I did the math. If I wasn't paying this close, I wouldn't have been able to do the math. Not at all. Okay, let's run our totals. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12.50. And what did we actually spend? 624.33, 181.20, 97.40, 295.02, 146.66, and $50. We spent over $1,394.61. And that is a difference of $1,394.61. Difference of $144.61. Okay, that right there gives me a bigger picture. Gives me a huge picture, right? That's the check-in. That's the weekly check-in. Now, I'm at a negative. Did that make me upset? No, not at all. It really did not. And I'm okay. Then you have your money check-in. And this is for the 9th through the 16th of 2026. What went well this week? What went well is the fact that I am enjoying the weekly check-in. I don't find it to be work. I find it, I find it not to be work, but eye-opening. Where did I overspend? I'm gonna put groceries. What surprised me? Now, I haven't been part of a Sam's Club or a Costco or a BJ's in forever, in over 20 years. So I always thought that they were a trap for things to buy. Like you walk in, oh my gosh, look at that patio set, look at that, look at this. And I stayed away from it because my vision was looking like that. That's how I was envisioning it. But when I went in there with numbers in my head, how Sam's Club can be beneficial, can actually save money if you, what's the word I'm looking for? Can save money if you stay focused. That's what I believe. What can I improve for next week? Let's just say groceries, pantry. That's where I want to improve on. I honestly want to go through the freezers and the pantry and things like that. I've got to, I want to do that in the month of May, but with everything that's been going on in my life, and I kind of gave that to you midweek in a video, considering everything that's been happening, I think that I'm still ahead and I can't rush the process. I do. I want to rip apart my pantry and I want to put wood on top of the metal shelving because I have that grid. And I want to go through everything. I want to get rid of things that are expired. I want things in a specific order. Because I don't live by myself, I get people that push things in, don't put things back. And that's okay. I'm not complaining. I want to rotate my inventory so that things never get stale or go out of date. Ketchups and ranch dressings and salad dressings. I don't want to overbuy anymore. I would like to have one on backup or even two, and then that's it. And that's a reflection on myself and my contingent mentality. Ooh, I'm telling you, this is definitely waking me up. Those moments are what I was like, that's what this book is for. I did not get into, I have not. Have you worked on these? I have not gotten into the affirmations or the notes section yet. I'm still working on other things. I did stuff Save to Sync back here, and this is its home from now on, and I love that it's all within this book. And I did not jump into the entire Save to Sync section yet within the growth and mindset, because in here It has, am I losing it? This here, I did not go through this yet. I need to sit down and I want to focus on this sheet. Maybe between this week and next week, I can actually do that. All right. Where are we going from here? We're going to go into the money. Yeah, we're going to go into the money in just a second. Let's put this back where it goes because this to me is important. And this is what I'm going to do. As the month ends, I'm going to take another set of discs and I'm going to make a binder just for 2026. All these don't have to stay in this binder. This is a working binder. I'm going to take it out and I'm going to archive it into a yearly disc system. That's how I want to do it. So that at the end of the year, I can go back and look through it and maybe ask myself some tough questions. That's a goal. This here works side by side with this. Let's get into this. Now, if you purchase this, I did send you a revision. My calendar weeks were off, but they're fixed now. And this is my new set. I just have to put it in here. It's not about no spend. It's really not, because I don't want there to be a negative where you say you can't spend money. Well, you can spend money. Just be aware of where your money's going. Okay? I want this process to not scare you, make you feel bad, or come at you in a negative way. I want you to learn to spend less. So this is a tracking system of your spending. Monthly reflections, but if you follow me, you know that I come to the table and I start my videos with the date, whether or not I spent money or saved money, right? If it was a no spend day, I give myself a heart. If it was a spend day, I I put a dollar sign. And then I want to start tracking the amount I saved, all neatly on a calendar system, undated, last you forever. The stickers are sold separately. Everything is on my .com under the Save to Sync portion. All right. Now we're going to get into the monies and the HELOC. So honestly, I do believe there should be 1250. Now I changed that first week to 200 versus 250. So I do believe there should be $1,200 here. $10, $20, $30, $40, $50, $60, $70, $80, $90, $92, $94, $96, $98, $1,000. $10, $20, $30, $40, $50, $60, $70, $80, $90, $100. $10, $20, $30, $40, $50, $60, $70, $80, $90, $200. There's $1,200 here. Now, if you watched that video earlier, we hired an attorney to help us process with our building. I have been dealing with this for over 2 years. It's finally coming to a closure. This money and other monies are being pulled from the HELOC. This didn't come from the HELOC. Let me rephrase this. Money is coming from the HELOC. I am done with the attorney. I now have to pay her. Don't know what the HELOC number is yet. I will have a better number of that. And here's why. Let me explain. I have to write out the checks for the property taxes. So when I write out those checks, that money has to come from the HELOC. But my 5K and my Pentecost challenge is finishing. That will then go into the HELOC based on the monies that I pull from the HELOC. Remember, my HELOC is not getting used except for emergency purposes. And when I pull it, it kills me. But I know that I have the monies that are finally coming to finalize in savings challenges that will go back in there. So just know that this money was used as an example, but this money has a bigger purpose. It's got to go back and pay down bills. That means that some days I don't save as much, some days I save more based on what was spent and what had to go out. Meaning, I know spent and going out are the same thing, but spent meaning spent on things and then coming out of the HELOC is what I meant. So I am still coming into, what's the word I want to say? Still getting on track with everything. And this entire system is helping me more than I could have ever imagined. This weekly check-in is really making me know where my monies is going, where it's actually getting spent. And I do believe that once this whole thing, now that the attorney's done and the C of O for that building is coming, life is going to go back to normal. But we'll discuss that more, maybe tomorrow night on the live. I want to say thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. If you are enjoying this, please hearts galore and let me know if you want to do a meeting. Have a great day. See you in the next one. Bye.